Today's conversation, we focus on, again, the White Earth constitutional debate. We're one of the only shows and stations in the Twin Cities, actually the only station in the Twin Cities.
As far as I know.
Bringing you information about this important decision. And let's update people. We also want to tell folks that, once again, we are simulcasting with KKWE Niji Radio in Mahnomen. Yes,
which is sort of the baby child of Winona LaDuke's brain. She got that station going along three other stations that were born around the state of Minnesota in Indian country. And Maggie and Jodan Rosu up there have been very helpful. Another one of their personalities, Michael Dahl, appeared on our show in August.
They were all integral in making this constitutional forum back in August happen.
And a very vital discussion at that.
Yes.
So we're delighted to at least bring on.
Yes.
And we'll continue this conversation, but we want to bring on Winona LaDuke herself. She is agreed to come on, and because she had to be missing, she fell off a horse back in August. And she was very indisposed at that point.
Yeah, we had slated her to introduce our forum when we were out there in White Earth at the Shooting Star Casino, and unfortunately weren't able to have her there, so we're bringing her here today.
It was a big bump, but she's been all over the country fighting against oil pipelines and tar sands and all kinds of things. Right, Winona?
Oh, that is right. And I did end up getting back on my horse and rode the expansion of the Alberta Clipper pipeline, and then we went out to South Dakota, and I supported, at that point I was no longer riding the Lakotas, riding the proposed KXL pipeline. So I did get bucked off my horse, and then as we all should, I got back on my horse. So.
No one ever said you weren't a tough cookie.
And today I'm here with you.
Thank you very much. Well, get back up on that horse, they say.
You're calling us today from Santa Fe? Is that what Andy said?
Yeah, I'm in Santa Fe. I'm down here with the meetings at Santa Clara Pueblo.
You lucky.
And I was up at a Taoist Food Sovereignty Summit where just really amazing people talking about whole food production from seed to the table.
Lucky
units for tribes and everything. Pretty dang interesting. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about our tribal constitution, which I did do a little rereading on this morning.
Okay. And your thoughts?
Well, interestingly enough, I received my ballot application at the office. I have an address.
Because these are being mailed out, right?
Mailed out. So, I've had really mixed feelings. A lot of the Constitution I really like, quite frankly. And I really think that being stuck with a really archaic IRA Constitution in this day and age, it's really important for tribal communities to move beyond that and to get out of the box that we're stuck into.
The IRA being the Indian Reorganization Act.
Yeah. The Indian Reorganization Act. I mean, that cookie cutter constitutions that our tribes have been faced with. And, so I really applaud the efforts to move out from that. I got some concerns, but, one of my first concerns was just to get a ballot. So you got a lot of tribal members on the reservation who may not have a fixed address, who may be, moving in between places, who have a right to vote. In order to vote in this election, you had to get an application for a ballot so you could write in. And so I travel all the time. I found it on my ironing board. Yes, I have an ironing board. No, I found it at the office, and then I found my daughter's on the ironing board. And we sent ours in the time that was, there, but it wasn't clear. So
yes, we noticed
that. I think a lot of people are going to be excluded from this election because they didn't follow the procedure. So I'm encouraging people, if you want to participate, you're probably going to need to go and mail that thing in right away.
Well, and how
that's what I'm saying. At least you'll have a voice. Some people are saying don't vote, don't even participate.
Yep.
And I'm saying you'll at least have a choice.
And you mentioned
if you turn it in.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that folks who are transient and might not have a steady address. I mean, were there any special modifications made for those people to be able to participate?
I do not believe so. Well, I believe that you have to turn it in. they have a stamped self-addressed envelope or addressed, to an election board, which I think is like in a different state, Texas or Iowa or something. It was kind of unusual to me.
Interesting.
So I mailed mine in because I have some ability to do that, but, I'm on the fly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, including people in my own household, I, do not actually have an address and did not probably actually get that. And so a lot of people are disenfranchised from the start. There's a lot of contention about this election. If you look, you'll see that of the delegates that wrote the Constitution, 8 voted against it and 16 voted for it. So it did pass by 2/3, but it was tight. But then you look at the Constitution itself, and there's a lot of great things in the Constitution. The process is a little bit questionable, and so that's what's concerning me. And I myself am having some challenges with this.
Are you talking
I
about...
like the lineal descendancy. I think that's probably a good thing for a lot of us.
You do. You do like that part.
Huh?
You do like that part.
Huh? I do like lineal descendancy. I don't really have a problem with it. I have a huge problem with blood quantum. My children are technically more Indian than I am, but they're unenrollable in this tribe because they're not the right kind of Indian. I think that citizenship myself, personally, should be actually, I could not pass a U.S. citizenship test. I couldn't tell you a lot of things in the Constitution. I'm pretty well educated, but the things that people who want to be citizens of the United States are required to answer, I don't know if I could answer them myself.
Most of us couldn't.
Citizenship...
Yeah. Most of us couldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if we had a citizenship test for the white Earth people that said, who are our dodames, and they call them totemic associations, which is really not even a word. Dodames, who are our clans?
Yes.
What are our treaties? When were they signed? What are our traditional? Give us some of our language. What is the teachings of Minobamata Ziwan? Things that colonialism steals from you, but that we need to know if we are, be awake, alive people, who we are, what is our identity. I think that's the citizenship test, not just lineal.
So the knowledge of the culture is important to you.
It's not, and it's not just culture. I'm not, I'm saying, who are we? It's not just culture.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's more who are we? The Creator put us here. The federal government did not place us here as the White Earth Anishinaabe Nation. We were placed here by the Creator.
It is a very big question, isn't it?
And our sovereignty, which is an English word, is inherent in our being as Anishinaabe, not in an IRA government. But that's a different topic. I like a lot of the articles. I like freedom of expression. Of course, I'm going to be a big one on that.
Yeah.
I like a lot of them.
What about the tiered governance?
Felons can vote, but you can't be elected to office because we have so many felons on our reservation. A lot of these are people that have drug convictions or DUIs, and they are still vital members of our community, and they should have a right to vote. They are not less than human.
Are they?
So I like that.
Are they allowed
to?
Are they allowed to under this Constitution? Huh? Are they allowed to under this Constitution? Felons to vote.
Article 10: felons are allowed to vote.
That's
what I got here. Unless you're looking at a different article than I am.
No.
But they aren't allowed to.
No. I'm just asking you what you consider good and bad about what you have been reading in the Constitution. That's great. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in favor of including all of our people.
Yeah.
I don't want people, pulled out.
Well, as we know,
yeah.
There's a whole movement.
And I got felons in my family, and I just, I work with a lot of people. I don't want to focus on that, but I'm saying, people have a right to participate in their community, and I think that's really important. So, I'm liking, a lot of these things very much.
Do you like
about our Constitution?
Do you like the divided government? Do you like the legislative, administrative, and judicial branches?
My problem is that it's not really clear. In theory, a lot of it is good, and it's articulating, the facets of government, frankly, that need to be articulated not in the way that they've been articulated previously. I know that Frank and my other colleagues have real concerns about, the relationship between this and the Minnesota Chippewa tribe. I think that, we need to work out a lot of this because, frankly, a lot of those systems were set up by someone else not to work out for us. as Anishinaabe people. So I think that moving things. My problem is who gets to make decisions in this. It looks as if to recall. I mean, not just to recall. Our processes have become more exclusive under this, which is what one of my problems is.
With the voting process, or
in what ways has it become more exclusive?
Well, now you're going to have Frank or someone. It's not clear to me. I have heard that this is to be approved by those. First of all, the voting for the Constitution is very exclusive, and that's a huge problem unto itself.
Even voting for the Constitution. Oh, because I was told
we already talked about that. You got to get a ballot, and then you got to send it in, and then you got to get it back. And then you got to, I haven't seen what it looks like, and I will get it together to vote. But,
Well, I've got one right here for you.
Huh? Andy's got a ballot.
I've got a ballot request form right here for you if you want one.
No. I got mine in.
I'm kidding. I'm just teasing you. All right. So at the same time, at the same time, I read that every enrolled member of the tribe, wherever they live in the world, was supposed to receive this cover letter and a ballot request form and an admonition to try to get it in by October 18th, which was last Friday. However, the additional line that comes after that says, but you actually it can be received in Mahnomen as late as November 8th. Now, that's interesting because that gives them a lot more leeway to get their ballots up there. Their ballot request.
Yeah, so people should, if they're going to participate, they should move on it. That's what I'd say. If you're in the cities, I had to go, my ballot came to my office. I would assume that the White Earth Tribal Government knows my home address. It didn't come there. It came to my office.
Oh.
I have two legal addresses, which is cool. At least I got one, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
So then this is where I get into questions. So in order to remove someone from government, the White Earth Nation shall provide for a recall election of an elected official. Citizens have the right to initiate a petition to recall an elected official. The petition shall secure at least 2/3 of the eligible voters for a recall election. That's a pretty huge number.
Well, especially if they're off reservation, yeah.
It's huge.
Huge.
And it almost makes it impossible to have a recall election. That is that is a challenge that I find here.
But sometimes
I think that your citizenry has to have a way to participate, and it should not all be vested and centralized in government.
Well, and so it seems...
we need democracy is not a spectator sport. You don't sit by the side, and so that's an exclusionary process. So that the process unto itself appears to me to be.
A little rushed and a little exclusive.
The White Earth Nation can initiate a referendum by evidence of a vote of 30% of the eligible voters. So it looks like a recall requires 2/3 of the eligible voters for a recall, and a referendum requires a 30% of the eligible voters for a referendum. I think that the process is not as clear as it should be, and it should not exclude participation.
And so there's sort of two...
Yeah. Huh?
So there's sort of two arguments going on here. One is that, whether or not this Constitution itself is the right Constitution to move forward on, and whether or not the process to adopt this Constitution is and fair and open to all tribal members.
Right. And the second, I do not think is true.
Okay, so
I don't think the process is fair. I think that they should have gone for you can vote. A widespread, NIJI has attempted to do some work on this, without taking an opinion, air all the different facets of it. The radio station, KKWE.
Yeah.
But, really allowing people to walk into the poll in White Earth is really the way to do it for something this important. And so I'm a little baffled as to why we would have to go through this challenging process.
Yeah.
Or walk into the poll in the city. So that's a little bit of my problem here is that it's kind of like it doesn't make sense to me. So
it doesn't seem.
That's my my take on a lot of this, huh?
It doesn't seem to make sense not to have polling places open on election day. That doesn't seem to make any sense to me as a political animal or kind of a junkie, because I think we all down here expect us to go down to the local church or school or something and
community
cast a ballot.
Center,
yeah. So, do you know?
I think it's exclusionary.
Do you know why that happened?
Who else you have that you're interviewing? I don't know. And I think that was a little bit contentious from what I heard. There was some, discussion about that. And it was not.
Oh, yeah. There sure was. So all right, well, let's say, all right, bottom line, is Winona LaDuke going to vote for or against this Constitution and expect to amend it later?
And expect to, my way to amend it is a little bit complicated here, though. That's the thing.
Well, that's a possibility, too,
and I'm wrangling with this right now.
Yeah.
I was not going to vote for it, and as I relook at it, I'm thinking, well, this is really not as bad as I thought. But the problem is I can't fix it.
You can't fix it before the vote
comes. It can be amended by 2/3 of the recorded eligible votes on a duly called election or a referendum amended by the Constitution. To amend the Constitution, eligible voters must be formally informed by written and published notices. Looks like it's hard to amend.
Well, constitutions have always been sort of that way. Frank Bibeau is on the line with us, and I know that he's probably chomping at the bit because he has thought, and of course he's been a little more out there with his comments. He's calling it a hoax. But Frank, talk to Winona. What do you think?
I think Winona's done a very good job of explaining things, and it is very unclear. And the real problem is that you can't fix it if you adopt it. Because I agree that there's many positive and needed changes that appear in this new draft Constitution. It's got a lot of wonderful parts to it, but that doesn't mean that you can fix it. If you have to have 2/3 of the people come together to try to have a referendum or to do an amendment process, we can't even get the 20% required most of the time to get a referendum going with the Minnesota Chippewa Tribe Constitution. And so if we can't make that work, then how are we going to have this thing that's 3 or 4 times as high as a hurdle to try to do this? And that's the real impediment. We all have younger cousins who are
right, Frank?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, she was asking you a question.
I said it's exclusionary, right? And how many people have to vote to get this thing passed here? What percentage of our registered voters have to vote? It's a very small percent. Is that correct?
Winona, it doesn't say, and that's why I say it's a hoax.
Ooh, that's scary.
If you look, I've appealed MCT elections, and I've appealed the secretarial election that was conducted by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. They have appeal processes. You don't see an appeal process here. What you see really is a poll. They're sending out ballots, and however many ballots come back, they're going to count it, and they're going to say 50% plus 1. We have no idea how many that they're sending out. That's why they're doing it out of New Mexico. That's the concern of a lot of people right at White Earth. Not only is it not an in-person process, but you have no idea where maybe 20 or 25,000 ballots might be being sent to, because as Winona said, there's a bunch of people who live in our house who aren't getting them, but their names could be out there.
I would love to hear from any listeners out there who are enrolled members of White Earth that have not yet received their invitation to vote and to send in a ballot request form, which is essentially a way of registering for this vote, and to tell us if they feel excluded as a result of it.
And the number to call to give your commentary on today's discussion would be 612-341-0980. And we also just want to remind you quickly here that it is 41 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour, and you are listening to Truth to Tell on KFAI Fresh Air Community Radio, 90.3 FM Minneapolis and 106.7 FM St. Paul, and online at kfai.org. And we are simulcasting on KKWE Niji Radio in White Earth as well. And it is Pledge Drive this week. So please do give us a call if you enjoy this conversation and others and want to ensure that we can continue to bring you local public affairs discussions like this here on Truth to Tell by calling 612-375-9030. That's 612-375-9030 to pledge your support today. And any new members today pledging will be matched by KFAI's Booster Club. So anytime you call today, you can get your pledge matched.
Truth to Tell is really being seen, I believe, by many people in the White Earth community as the exclusive Twin Cities outlet for this kind of information on the new Constitution. And we are proud as hell to be a part of that discussion and to facilitate whatever commentary is coming out of people like Winona LaDuke, who's on the phone with us this morning, and Frank Bibeau and Terry Janice, who is a constitutional lawyer for the White Earth Tribe, and we just had a terrific meeting up in White Earth, and you can find both video and audio of both hours of that meeting at the Shooting Star Casino on what was August?
It was August 14th that we were out there.
Yeah.
And I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you to Suzanne from Chicago, who is listening this morning and made a generous donation by becoming a new member, and so her gift will be matched today. Thank you, Suzanne.
Is that a friend of yours?
She is a good friend of mine, actually.
I thought you might be.
So thank you, Suzanne, and the rest of my friends who are listening, call us 612-375-9030, and let's bring in David Cummings for just a minute here.
Yeah, my pal David, our pal David. David is he's the host of Rockin' and Rhythm on Monday afternoons. This afternoon. And as I like to say, the man knows nothing if he knows everything. He is just an amazing head on his shoulders about old radio, old music. He's talked to everybody in Hollywood. They all know him. And he's just a lot of fun to have around.
The result of a misspent youth, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt, yeah.
Well, I do a music program, and that's a program that, people can, use it as an escape in a sense. You just kind of go off and enjoy the music and forget about your cares and woes for a while. But there is a place here at the station for news and current affairs that you guys do so well here on Monday mornings on Truth to Tell from 8 to 9, or from 9
Always
to 10.
Always breaking consciences here.
Yeah, and I think it's just the fact that as volunteers, you're taking this across the state, like White Earth. You've been up to Duluth and, numerous places around the Twin Cities that this isn't just something that you do on just for the heck of it, just for a few hours. This takes a lot of planning, a lot of work, a lot of dedication. And
you guys, I got to go. I'm sorry. I got a meeting.
All right.
Winona.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Winona.
Really good luck. And Frank, the best to you.
All right.
Thank you.
Winona, we'll have you back on again, and especially toward the end of the vote.
Thank you very much, Winona LaDuke, founder of...
You guys, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honor the Earth is what... Winona works on, and Winona also helped form a KKWE Niji Radio.
Mm-hmm.
She is a mover and a shaker, and on top of that was the vice presidential candidate under Ralph Nader back in 2000.
Yeah.
2000. So we are always delighted to have Winona. She's a deeply respected person in her community and is all over the place. I don't know how we nail her down sometimes.
She was calling us today from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Santa Fe. Wow. She's been on the riding the pipelines
at a
on
Whole
her
Food
horses.
Conference, I think. Yeah. She said. Not Whole Foods, the
grocery
store.
Okay, Frank, you're on your own for a minute here.
Whoa. Go ahead.
I just want to remind everybody, 612-375-9030 is the number to call. Show your support that you like the station, you like what Andy and Michelle do these Monday mornings. Again, 612-375-9030.
Thank you, David.
And we still have with us attorney Frank Bibeau, and we also have a comment from one of our listeners who's on the phone right now. Can you tell us where you're calling from and your name, please?
Well, my name is Merlin Londo, and I'm calling from Nadawash.
Nadawash.
On a White Res, yes.
Hello, Merlin. Welcome to the club here.
And you have a comment on the absentee process for the White Earth vote?
Yes, not only on that, but the absentee process. Why is it that it's so confusing? And why would you have to send your ballots to New Mexico to receive an absentee ballot? I mean, why can't it be done on a reservation here? Like, all reservation business should be done on a reservation. It's really ridiculous how this is set up. It's just set up to be more confusing. And the voting process, when you have the regular elections, how Irma won her last election, she lost on a reservation, but she had, at the last minute, 900 absentee ballots come in. That's how she won the election. Now, if this